Bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
Highway.
What's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass?
They ain't ready. They ain't ready, Jim. They ain't ready. Here we go. I'm gonna go out here, guys. What is it? You ain't Mexican. What is that?
I missed you a little bit though, so I dig a little deep in there, right? But yeah,
You did that.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Frisco Report.com. We're back in action, baby. We're back in action. Guys, you know the drill. It's Cabo time. And I got my trusty co-host here, the co-host of co-host, Mike, Cowboys Corner. What's up, bro?
What's going on, you guys? Joe, it feels good to be back here on the Frisco Report. Starting off our 5th year, Joe. 5 years of Frisco Report, all right? Nothing but great things right here. Keeping it 100 from draft coverage to in-season in-depth conversations to accurate predictions, Joe. We give it to you right here on the Frisco Report. As Joe mentioned, the FriscoReport.com. Now check out the website.
Yeah, check it out, bro. We got all the draft classes going back to when Parcells started and when I started the blog, 2003. So you want to look at those draft classes, go check that out. You can see all the hits, all the busts, all pros, but no rings. All right. Mike, let's jump right into this, bro. We got training camp 2025, Oxnard, California. Kicks off next week. I think a week from today, right?
Week from today. The Cowboys show up there on the 20th, Sunday, and the first practice is a week from today, training camp, Joe.
Let's bring the heat, all right? Will Micah Parsons get on the plane to Oxnard, bro?
I think he does. He was there for OTAs and mini camps, I think Zach Martin was at OTAs and mini camps, and then he held that at training camp. I don't know if Micah would do this. Tank Lawrence is not on this football team anymore. Micah Parsons went on Twitter, says it's my time now. All right, Micah, are you going to show these young guys how to hold out? Or are you going to show these young guys how to show up? All right, that's up to you, Micah. But I think, Joe, he shows up on that plane Sunday.
He better, bro. I don't think he does. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go the other side of the coin. I think this is gonna be all falling into line with what the Cowboys do with the high dramatics. Our fans will be watching live because and you know they'll be having it like, hey, did he get on the plane? What does it mean? Is he holding out? Yes, it will be a holdout. I think it's gonna be a holdout, bro. We got some contracts on the offensive side of the ball here. Trey Smith, the money keeps dropping. The money bags keep getting bigger, and Micah has yet to get paid on the defensive side of the ball, man. So Cowboys like to do this game. I don't know why they do this, bro, but they do. They love to do it. But I personally don't think he's going to be on the plane, but I do think that it will get done. You know, it'll be a short-lived holdout. And I think he'll be there within a week. That's my thought. Guys, in the comments, in the chat box, do you think Micah Parsons will be on the airplane to Oxnard, California? Drop it in the chat box. Drop it in the comments. Do you think Micah's going to show up? Will he be there? Is it going to be a holdout? Or what's it going to be, baby? We hadn't seen this since Zeke, right?
Right.
So we'll see.
Well, Zach Martin. We haven't seen it since Zach Martin.
We'll see what kind of what Micah's agency, what his agent suggests him to do. and we'll see what happens there, bro. But this is a huge training camp, Mike. And we're talking about first year head coach Brian Schottenheimer. He's got 26 years of coaching. As an assistant, positional coach,
coordinator.
So what is to be expected here for his first training camp? Is it going to be camp cupcake like Wade Phillips, or is it going to be something a little bit different, Mike? What's your gut feeling on what the vibe is going to be here?
I think it's going to be up-tempo practices, Joe. You look at the energy that Schottenheimer brings to the press conferences that he brought in the snippets that we've seen of training of the mini camps and the OTAs. You look at those snippets. You look how the players are motivated and smile and get excited when they talk about Brian Schottenheimer, Joe. Mojo moments are out the window, all right? Move aside, mojo moments. This is Schottenheimer's time. And I can't wait to see the up-tempo practices. I can't wait to see the installment of what he does. I don't think, with him being, I think he's like in low 50s, Joe. He's young. He's motivated. This is his first opportunity. I feel like he has a lot to prove to the National Football League, saying, I waited this long for this opportunity, and I finally got it. And not only do I have it for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I think with all that being said, the tempo, Joe, is going to be turned up. Mike McCarthy was GPS. Schottenheimer is going to be tempo.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good observation. Will it be fluff? Will it be for something, or will it be for nothing? All or nothing, right? So Cowboys, the cameras will be there. It's Hollywood, right? So we'll have some sort of. We know we're getting the HBO in season, right? Now, will that mean that there's going to be some training camp coverage with that? I'm interested if we'll see HBO cameras there, or what it'll be. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a distraction, and it has proven to be a distraction for the team. So we'll see how that goes, Mike. But back to the camp here, dude. What is the number one position battle that you have on your radar? Like, what is offensive, defense? What has interest, bro?
Man, I'm looking at corner, Joe, right away. We're hurt at that position. We had Butler get hurt, ACL. How does he battle back? Siobhan Revel, he was injured in college, getting drafted there in the third round. How does he battle back? Elam, his second career stint. Trying to get rejuvenated here with the Dallas Cowboys, trading in from Buffalo. How does he look? Trayvon Diggs is going to be on the bench for a little bit. Deron Bland was hurt half of last year, right? So when you look at these cornerbacks, how do these guys motivate and participate and rejuvenate to get in the starting lineup, Joe? Because that is the biggest question mark for me on this team, and that's where I'm looking at, scoping out the most. Give me the best three, all right? The dog J. Lou isn't here anymore. All right, that's going to hurt big time. So who can be the Jordan Lewis replacement? Who can hold the fort down for Trayvon Diggs? Cornerback for me, Joe, is a big one.
And it's a good one, bro. I'm right there with you. I'm sticking on the defensive side of the ball as well, Mike. I'm going defensive tackle. Oh, we're going to stop the run. Eberflus and this and that. Eberflus had pretty good defensive tackles at Chicago and Indianapolis. He comes here. I mean, it's a big question mark. Yeah, I mean, we're even talking about, do the Cowboys make a trade here, player for player trade? They've done it before. Is that coming down the pike here for the Cowboys? Because, Mike, to be quite honest, it is a big question mark, man, right there with cornerback, like you said, because outside of Osa Odigizua, you have somebody who you're hoping, crossing your fingers and twat hairs and stuff like that Mozzie will be something. And then a lot of fluff, a lot of hype around the rookies, late rounders, bro. Like I don't share the sentiment, man. I think they were drafted late rounds for a reason. You know what I mean? I'm hoping there'll be something, bro. But you've got so you got some former first round busts along here. I mean, you got Solomon Thomas. I think he'll get some rotational time there as well, Mike. But I'm not quite there yet with the one tech action. You know, Mozzie. Who else you got in there? You know,
You got 2 7th-round draft picks in there. You know, Chauncey Goldston went to the Giants. He could have been some pieces in the middle there. You know, it's going to be interesting to see that training camp battle, Joe. I think you hit it right on the head when it comes to the run game opportunity of that defensive tackle one tech. You know, and that's why I was excited for Osa to get signed. He was the best defensive tackle on the team. Sign him and build around him. That's only going to make the team better, especially with Micah and Nealon and these guys, right? So one tech is a huge question mark.
Huge. We're talking about rotation. You're one strained calf from being totally screwed here. I think they got to bring in some bodies, bro. If I were the Cowboys, bro, I would take a look and see some crazy trade, bro. You know what I mean? Like bring in a top tier guy, and I mean because you think about it, the semi all in move, you know, where we're a season late, but you know George Pickens, right? You know that's a move that you hope can put your team over the top and this sort of thing. I think the Cowboys need to do that on the defensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? If you're willing and dealing, and this is the season where you think this is it for Dak, and after that, it could be done, do it, dude.
So we lost Joe here, all right? So Joe's talking about going in and getting a defensive tackle on trade. A lot of guys in the comment section are saying DJ Reader, all right?
All
Look,
right,
guys.
so yeah.
Well, Joe's back. All right. You froze there for a minute, Joe.
What was the last thing you heard, bro?
That we need to go make a splash, and we took care of the offense. Now it's time to take care of the defense.
And now we need to go out with a bang, bro. All right. I think that's what caused it to go down when I said that. And it couldn't handle the ferocity, bro.
1980s in the comment section, too. That's a lot of power. Your power, 80s power. That's a lot of power, Joe.
It's a lot of old school thought, a lot of wisdom. You know what I mean? The internet couldn't handle it, bro. But back, mentioned defensive side, I think it's really good. Let's talk about the offensive side, bro. What worries you on the offensive side of the ball the most, man?
I'm going to be honest with you, and Jake Ferguson is my guy. You know, we could talk about running back, and I'm sure maybe that's yours, but mine's tight end, Joe. Mine's tight end. Jake Ferguson, hurt up and down season, didn't record a touchdown. That's big time for your tight end number one not to get a touchdown, right? You know, I argued till the cows came home for Jake Ferguson right after the season, all right? And I'm going to argue again. I need Jake Ferguson to step up, all right? Help your quarterback out, be quarterback friendly. You know, Jason Witten, he hasn't been here in a few years. Dalton Schultz hasn't been here in a few years. Ferguson, when you going to take control? When you going to take control, Ferguson? Because the performance last year was not good enough, right? Now, Brevin Spanford, hey, the kid can play some tight end, right? Schoonmaker, he was really consistent with Cooper Rush as the quarterback. Cooper Rush is not here anymore. How does Schoonmaker look under Dak Prescott, right? So tight ends for me, Joe, is really big for me, Joe. Really big question marks for me.
And it's a big weapon for Dak. It's always been the escape hatch for Romo, right? You had Witten, you had Schultz. With Dak, you know, the same deal. It's the escape hatch. Like you're in trouble, you don't know what to do. You got the good old, you know, tied in there to bail you out, right? Ferguson, the concussions, we heard about that. You know, did that was it a lot for him to take mentally? I heard, you know, we're hearing that it was, you know, a mental thing there, the concussion. Did he recover? Is the swag back? Because he had that swag. He was an ascending player, bro. That he looked like he was the next guy that was going to be in here and be a badass tight end, and he got his head rocked, and you know, that was it, bro. But I'll tell you what, man. I really like what Schoonmaker did last year. I think he really stepped up in that role. And I'm hearing good things about his off-season training camp, you know. leading up to the real deal here. I think he's going to be a pleasant surprise here for Cowboys Nation. He might leapfrog old Ferguson if he doesn't be careful here, bro. Which is good because we spent a second-round pick on this dude. So, honestly, bro, I am expecting the leapfrog. I don't care. I love Jake Ferguson, but a second-round pick, leapfrog him, bro. Be the second-round pick that we drafted you as. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, you got to have it. I think outside of those two, bro, it could be up in the air, right? You mentioned Brevin Ford. They've got the rookie from Georgia. They like him. You've got Stevens, John Stevens, but he can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy. Yep, he's always staying hurt.
So we'll see, man. That's a good point there on tight ends, Mike. For me, I want an answer to whether or not we're going committee, or are we going with? Are we locking in with three running backs? I think you have to take three. I don't want this shuffling of running backs because then that becomes a committee. You know what I mean? I think you need two for sure, and then you need that third as a backup, maybe somebody that can give you a breather. But I want to come out of this training camp knowing who my first two dudes are. You know what I mean? I don't want this to be like, oh man, we got to go deep at running back. You know, it's gonna be a committee. We do a committee, we're screwed, bro. In my opinion.
Absolutely, Joe. Before I answer, let's get to the super chat here from Mike Ballerano. He said, the thing I fear about Schottenheimer is that he's going to be a Jason Garrett 2.0. No matter who the coach is, ultimately, Jerry Jones is still the owner. What do you think, Joe?
Yes, indeed. And that's why I have mentioned that this whole culture extravaganza hypeness is misleading because it's a subculture. The culture that runs this team is at the top of the mountain. When we had Jimmy Johnson, that culture came from the top. He was the GM, de facto GM with Jerry Jones, right? And now he can probably do something with the subculture that he's doing here, but he still has to deal with the dudes up here. That culture sucks, bro. The front office culture, trash, bro. So I like what he's doing, but it's only going to take this team so far because you still got Jerry and these bumblers making stupid decisions left and right. So I'm with you, bro. Will he be a Jason Garrett 2.0? I think that's something we'll have to watch. I actually think that he's going to be somewhere between a Wade Phillips and a Garrett. I think you're going to get both sides of that. You know, I think he's going to fall between those two. A player's coach, right? And there's nothing wrong with the player's coach. I broke this down a few videos back. Half the Super Bowl winning coaches have been player coaches. So there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with the Cowboys is the front office. It's going to limit us. So the players really have to take it on their shoulders and do it themselves.
Joe, I like that point, Joe. How does Schottenheimer keep the front office culture and the locker room culture separate? All right. How does he not mix salt water with regular water? Right. It doesn't mix. But in Dallas, they'll find a way to get that mixed. Right. So I like that point about culture in the front office versus culture in the locker room. I think there's a difference in and we haven't yet seen a coach that could manage that. Mike McCarthy did it a little bit up until Zeke ran to Jerry, said, I need more playing time. Right. So I like that point, Joe. But back to the running backs here. Thanks, Mike, for that super chat. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate that super chat. Thanks so much. Back to the running back, Joe. I think you're right on the money. 3 running backs. You know, I'm gonna say this. I think I'm tired of Hunter Lemke already, and I'm definitely tired of Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Miles Sanders, I think he's long in the tooth. You know, did you see his workout video? And did you see him lift the dumbbell weights? He's going to be RB1.
Right.
Your 3 running backs is going to be Javonte Williams from the Broncos, now Cowboy, Jadon Blue, and Phil Maffa. Period. Those are your 3 running backs. And I think the battle because Jadon Blue is going to be your Lance Dunbar type of running back, your Tony Pollard type running back. So the powerhouse is going to be a battle of Phil Maffa and Javonte Williams. How do they keep one of them running backs on the bench and keep those legs fresh? And how do they run one to pick up those dirty yards, right? Those are my 3 running backs to start the 53-man roster.
No, you hit it right on the head. I think the competition is going to be Phil Maffa with one of those 2 vets. I think that's for sure. You hit it on the head there. I think that's where it's going to happen. Deuce Vaughn cannot make this team. If he makes this team over even somebody like Phil Maffa, it's going to damage this whole culture crap, because they're going to be like, this is nepotism. This little dude can't do crap. And you're keeping him over somebody that you drafted here, right? So give him his snaps, give him his little 8-yard gains here in trash time in the preseason. But he's not a regular season running back, bro. He does not have it. Does not have it, bro. Not NFL caliber. He can go to the UFL. Maybe he can go to the Canadian League or some shit like this. But NFL, he doesn't have it, bro. So something to watch, man. But I have said this already before. We're another draft away from getting the actual bell cow in here to run with Jadon Blue. So we'll see how they manage this season. It'll be definitely something that if it ends, however the season ends, it will be something that we come back and revisit and say they screwed up in the draft. They didn't get a guy early. They went and cheat, and they took the late round guys. So we'll see how it goes here for Dallas, man.
No, it's going to be real interesting. I can't wait for the training camp battle there at tight end, running back, corner, defensive tackle, and we want these position groups to thrive, guys. Because those are the biggest question marks on the team. Tight end is of the exception, but we're calling out Jake Ferguson here. That's what we're doing right here on the Frisco Report. We're calling out Javonte Williams and Phil Massa and Jadon. We need competition at the highest level. If Schottenheimer's practice is going to be up tempo like I think it's going to be, that's only going to make this competition that much better.
Yeah, let's see what the vibe is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see what it is, right? Other battles here. Actually, let's talk about the rookie class here, Mike. Who are you going to be watching the closest? And everybody in the chat and everybody in the comments, from the rookies, who is going to draw the most attention for you? Like you're like zoning in and like, hey, I want to see what this guy does. Who's that guy for you?
Donovan Ezeraku. That's because he's undersized. All right, let's call a spade a spade. We drafted an Overshown 2.0. Micah's just a little bit bigger than him, I think. So how does he hold up? Can he be an 18-week lineman?
Mm-hmm.
Can he use that bend? Can he use that speed? Can he get sacks? Can he stop the run? That's the biggest thing, Joe. A guy that size, can you stop the run? All right. That's Ezeraku is my watch.
Man, it's a good one. And since you took that one, I'm gonna go on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm gonna go with Tyler Booker. All right. Is he going to break the Alabama bus curse? All right. Has all the physical attributes you want at guard. He's had a storied career going back to high school, college with Saban, and had that run there with them. So I think that that'll be one to watch. How will Tyler Booker look at the NFL level, replacing the GOATs? The bar's here. All right. It's not down here. It's not missing time with little bullshitty ass injuries. I want to see him in there toughing it out, winning that spot and mauling people, bro. Like, I want to see mauling, dude. I don't want to see finesse play, man. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be watching Tyler Booker with a microscope. I am. I want to see the mauling, bro.
You notice what we did here, Joe. We picked our first pick and our second pick, and we got our eyes on them. That's how you set expectations because, give him a year to develop. No. When you go first and second round picks, they have to play. Especially in the second round, the Dallas Cowboys have struggled to have a consistent second round pick player.
They do. I don't know why they do it, bro, but it's the weirdest thing ever, man. It is the weirdest thing ever. So if you think about Donovan as a Raku, the only knock on him is the size, but he doesn't have injuries. He doesn't have off-field issues, which the Cowboys have been attracted to for the second round player. It's usually been an injury guy, an off-field guy. This time it's more about, does he have, the size, right? So I think he'll do fine. But the question is, at that size, can he endure, like you said, an 18-game schedule? Can he, stay healthy with some of the biggest tackles and guards in this league? Does he have the body armor for
it? It's a lot of questions. How does and another thing, I don't know what the next topic is, but maybe is coaching like Matt Eberflus, right? Is that a topic today?
Absolutely. We're talking everything insider news training camp, bro.
All right. I'll wait to talk about Matt Eberflus then. What's the next subject, Joe?
Yeah, dude. So we just talked about our rookies that we want to look at. And obviously, that's not to pass over or look at anybody else. The whole rookie class really needs to contribute because that's what the Cowboys do. Oh, draft and develop. That's their saying. If you do that, you got to draft good. And McClay, you can't give him a pass. Those last two draft classes don't look good. So this one needs to be good.
Dude, tell me a rookie that made any sort of impact in that Green Bay Packer playoff loss. Zero rookies made any impact. That's what we're talking about. This draft class, if we want to get anywhere, this draft class has to contribute from at least first to fifth round, period.
Yeah, that's the pressure they put on themselves. So if that's the pressure they put on themselves, they gotta walk it, man. So you gotta be about it. You know what I mean? So that's what they're known for. That's what they do. Can't come out here and draft a bunch of busty players and expect to get the W's. It just doesn't work that way. So yeah, man. Who will be the gem of this draft class, Mike? Let's talk about this. Who will be the gem? Maybe the surprise. Maybe somebody that ends up being better than your first or second round pick. Is there a mid to late round guy in your mind that could be that?
That's a good question, Joe. That's a good question. Chevelle won't count. I'm going to say Cornelius. What if Cornelius, who plays right tackle, we drafted him late.
Mm-hmm.
What if he turns heads in training camp, dude? And what if he beats out Terrence Steele? Could that be? Could Cornelius be a GM, Joe?
That's a really good one, bro. We talked about this during the draft coverage. We the contacts that I have made over the years have done this channel well. The private dinner that our coach had with AJ Cornelius, right? So there was a high draft probability there. He also liked the other tackle, but they went with Ajani, right? So, man, that I would love nothing more than that to happen, bro. I think Steele has hit his ceiling. I just don't see that he's going to get better. He is what he is. If you can get Cornelius in here, maybe I think if he looks good in preseason, he's going to be the future there on that right side, on that right tackle, and that's going to be good for us, man. I love that answer there, Mike. I think that could be the one there. The easy one probably could have been Jadon Blue, but that's too easy, right? You nailed it with Cornelius. I think he could be the late round gem of this draft class, Mike.
100%. He's physical. He can play the right side. That's the biggest hole there, right? Terrence Steele, your coach has seen you for 3 years. He knows what you're about. And Terrence Steele was a pet cat to Mike McCarthy now. You always got to remember that. These coaches like their guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right about that. They always talk about the sponsor, right? He no longer has a sponsor. You know who else doesn't have a sponsor anymore, bro? Sam Williams. Let's talk about this guy. Is he a bubble player for you? Do you have a penciled in, penned in, or is he like, I don't know about this guy? What you thought?
A lot of Cowboy fans aren't going to like my answer. I think he is a bubble player, Joe. I mean, you look at Donovan Ezeraku, Marshawn Nealon. They just brought back Dante Fowler. You got Micah Parsons there. I could keep naming names, Joe, and that's pushing Sam Williams behind that line because he has done nothing to put him to say Micah Parsons, Sam Williams, and then Dante Fowler, and then Ezeraku, then Marshawn Nealon. No, Sam Williams in the back of your mind. Definitely a bubble player.
Yeah, Sam was definitely on the bubble, man. And to me, he's a guy that maybe you're able to do a player for player trade for somebody. Maybe you say, hey, we got this guy here. Can we trade him for one of your defensive tackles, or can we trade him for one of your cornerbacks? You know what I mean? So I would do that, bro, because he's in his this is his contract year, right? Sam Williams.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is his 4th year.
So it's like, man, he's been here, hasn't done much. You know, he's had more. He's more known for the bonehead, knucklehead plays that just drive you absolutely
the penalty plays. The penalty plays.
I mean, I get enraged, bro. It's serious, bro. Like, so that's why I can't have people around me when I'm watching the game. I turn into the freaking Hulk right here, bro. I'm like, I feel bad for my dog because sometimes he's like, "What's happening?" He's turning into the Hulk.
Dude, totally relate. I totally relate, bro.
Yeah, dude, I can't stand turnovers, intercept, fumble, any negative plays, bro. It drives me nuts, bro. I get so angry, bro. But he's one of those dudes. So, do you want to keep hanging on to him? So, yeah, he's definitely on the bubble, bro. What do you guys think? Everybody in the chat box, in the comments, let us know. Is Sam Williams, is he on the bubble for you? Or are you pinning him in? You know what I mean? Let me know. And if so, why? Okay. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat box. Quarterback, Mike, we'll touch on this real quick. Obviously Dak's not going to get unseated, but I think where there's going to be some action will be for that backup position. Are they going to go 3 deep or just 2 deep, Mike?
Well, the emergency quarterback doesn't count, so they'll go 3 running backs on the roster. 1 will be an emergency quarterback, and I think that will be Will Grier. All right. I need Prescott to play at least a full quarter of time, so 15 minutes in a span of 3 preseason games. I need that from Dak Prescott in this offense, and then Joe Milton should be playing. So that's probably 2% of the time, and then Milton should get 90% of the time. Will Grier should get 8% of the time. There's no reason to fiddle fart with this. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of talent in Joe Milton. That guy should get 90% of the preseason reps.
And I wonder if he looks badass in the first 2 preseason games. So they say, okay, that's enough. He's the guy, and let's just give this to Will Grier to finish out the last. What is it? 3 preseason games now? Well, there's
3
not many now, right?
Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah,
but here's the deal with that, Joe.
Yeah.
Trey Lance didn't look bad his first 2 preseason games. That last preseason game is when he got exposed and threw 5 interceptions. I need Joe Milton to play all 3 games. Can he be consistent, Joe? Because if he's consistently throwing picks, he ain't the answer.
Can we see him get some preseason action with some starters?
Oh yeah, yeah. He'll have the number one line out there, just because they got to build that continuity, right? So he'll get the number one line, but he might get the third. He might get Turpin and Tolbert and Jalen Brooks and Ryan Flournoy. That might be his wide receiver cast.
Bro, I remember last preseason, these dudes weren't even dressed. I was like, Jalen Tolbert wasn't dressed? I was like, come on, man. So he won't even probably be out there, dude.
Oh, he better be out there.
It's like you said, it's probably going to be like your Croppers of the world, your Flournoy and whoever else you want to name, right? So I would like to see, give him a shot, and maybe at least in training camp, let him do some 7-on-7. But like I've said this before too, man. Like I used to take training camp super serious. Like, this is it, man. We're getting ready. It honestly, to me, has become more hype now because there's cameras everywhere now, Mike. Right? So you get all sorts of angles of the splash plays, right? Like, oh, this dude is turning heads and this and that. And when the preseason comes, they disappear. So I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. I just want to come out of this healthy, Mike. That's really what I want at the end of the day. Do your installation of the offense and defense. Do that. But stay healthy for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think the CBA has made it real sissified, 1980s terms, sissified, and how they do things. So, I mean, whenever we want to set the tone and create this culture, you're actually limited to the CBA, right? So Schottenheimer has to be creative in how he sets the tone and how he does things. I mean, you're limited to full pad practices. I mean, that's how bad it is. So, so as a first-year head coach with limited player time, with extra days off and restricted time, he has to set the tone and set these practices up right. I think he can do it with his dad was a coach. He's seen it. I think he's up for the challenge, but these players have to be ready too.
They really do. They really do. We got another super chat here that we got to. Or my brother, when do you think Trayvon and Overshown will return? Oh, man, this is a good topic to discuss here real quick because, Trayvon, and I think Mike really led the way on this as far as like, should they start training away from these dudes because, they tend to come back hurt, this sort of thing. And Trayvon has done that. And I think it's going to benefit him well, bro. Like, he's been training away from the team. In past years, you've seen all these guys. Oh, Britt Brown. They always drop these names and they don't do shit, bro. Britt Brown, Dr. Cooper special and all this crap, bro. They don't mean crap, bro. I think Trayvon is actually a little bit ahead of schedule because of what he's done himself with his team. You know what I mean? So I think he'll be back sooner than later, and you do need him. Mike, for Overshown, it's a little bit different story. I don't want to rush him back. He's become a little bit of a brittle player, if we're being quite honest, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, that his track record is speaking for itself when it comes to brittleness. I think October, maybe October for Trayvon Diggs too. He went to Florida, rehabbed that knee. He stayed away from the Dallas Cowboy facility, and he did it on his own, all right? He's probably noticed the trend as well. Mm-hmm. And when players give your strength and conditioning a D-, that should open players' eyes to go train and rehab somewhere else too. So, that's Jerry's fault right there. Don't want to pay for coaches to go in there and take care of players' bodies. And that matters. And that matters to these players who put their body on the line, play in, play out. So kudos to Trayvon Diggs for seeing that, eyeballing it, and handling it. And maybe he won't fall into the category of has been because he messed up his ADL. You look at Jabril Cox, you look at Michael Gallup, Terrence Steele. You look at these guys who's had the same injury as Trayvon Diggs and never looked the same from what they looked at in their prime. All right, and what is that prime when you tear your ACL? Right, so. Big shout out to Trayvon. Sorry to go long-winded, but I think it's October for both these guys.
But, bro, we got to give credit where it comes, right? I mean, you called this out, a few seasons ago, right?
Yeah.
I specifically remember, and I thought, I was like, dude, it's so true, bro. You know what I mean? And it is. So, shout out to Trayvon Diggs. Maybe he watched the Frisco report. Maybe he said, hey, this dude's right. Who knows, bro?
You never know.
Who knows, bro? Nobody else was saying it.
Right.
But Cowboys Corner did here on the Frisco Report. That's what you get here at the Frisco Report. It's all, we give it out to you as we see it. No fluff, no hype. We're not posting videos of people running around trash cans, running in the beach, making outrageous proclamations. MVP season loading, dude.
You can be optimistic. Like I'm optimistic about Schottenheimer.
Yes,
right. Absolutely. You can be optimistic, and I could be completely wrong, right? But you're not going to hear me say that Dak's going to have 6,000 yards and 45 touchdowns. Like that's not going to come out of my mouth. Sometimes there's things that you have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Right. You could be like, I got to still wait and see on Schottenheimer how he's going to play out, but I can be optimistic and not make outrageous predictions. Now, is 12-5 an outrageous prediction? That's up to you. But if you got us anywhere between 9-8 and 12-5, we're going to be somewhere between there. I'm just on the higher end of the scale, and that's okay.
And we will be watching this. We did have our prediction video. I said 8-9. I'm not going to change that. I'm locked in. Mike went 12-5. He's locked in. All right. If you missed that video, go back and watch that video. It's very entertaining. We broke down every single game and the reasoning behind it. Go check that out. We do have all the games saved on our spreadsheet. We will go as the season goes and see how we did. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be an entertaining season indeed here at the Frisco Report. We will be talking about, everything here during camp, with a grain of salt. We're not gonna overhype any of this stuff because it does nobody good. All right. But we're not gonna be overly negative either. We're gonna be optimistic, obviously, like Mike said. We all want to win. That's the name of the game. We all want to get back to the championship, the Lombardi. We want to hoist that trophy. Will it happen? Will it happen? We'll see if it does, Mike. But yeah, man, great to be back here doing the Frisco Reports. We will be back next Tuesday as well, and that'll be the kickoff to training camp. So there'll be plenty of nuggets, news and nuggets coming out of there, and we'll bring that to you live next Tuesday, bro. So make sure you guys click the bell notification if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already, and join the party, man. Join the party. Mike, great to have you back, bro. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we cut out today, bro?
No, guys. Look, pending my softball schedule, I will be going live during every preseason game right here on Cowboys Corner. Obviously, I can't show the game, but you're going to get live, instant, play-by-play breakdown of what I see, just like I did last year. So tune in for that. Hit the notification bell, as Joe said. Click the like button before you leave. If you're on the replay, click that like button. Guys, we just gave you 44 minutes of the greatest damn content for the Dallas Cowboys right here on the Frisco Report.
Great topics to discuss indeed. Next week, got a surprise for you. We will be giving away one of these CowboysBlog.net foil shirts. They go all the way up to 2XL.
And a Cowboys Corner shirt. We're going to give one of those away too.
There we go. So, guys,
I'll get my cousin to make one. I'll get.
Sure, you guys tune in, man. We will be giving away some of that merch next video, bro. So
you know what? And instead of doing that, Joe, instead of giving away a shirt, dude, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'll give away one of my Troy Aikman photos. One of these will be y'all's. Instead of a shirt, I'll give one of these Troy Aikman things away.
I think I'm gonna have to be in that raffle too, bro. That's pretty awesome, bro. Damn, dude. Who wouldn't want that, man? But awesome, bro. Awesome indeed, man. Mike, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate everybody in the chat box. If you watch us on the replay, notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you for the next Frisco Report, guys. Peace out.